作为武汉大学东湖分校的首位外籍教师，他一个在中国默默从事语言教学的加拿大人，畅谈他在中国生活中的点点滴滴，探讨大学生英语学习中的方法与捷径。请看本期校园新闻，专访王星光博士。
So it's very kind of you to accept our interview again. So shall we start?
Certainly, my pleasure.
I remember that you told me you have two jobs. One is a teacher and another is an editor. So could you tell us how do you deal with this kind of busy life?
Busy life. It is all a matter of organizing ourselves. On my computer, I have a calendar and a schedule that allows me to know what I need to do when I need to do it. Although I'm busy with these different places, sometimes they are short. To give an example, Wuhan TV is only at lunchtime. So I still have mornings and afternoons that are free, and evenings that are free for me. So that gives me time to do other things, different projects that I'm working on, and also research. As for here, well, I've asked and they have done that all my classes be in one day.
So you planned everything carefully?
Yes, I am. Some people say I am what is called a control freak.
May I call you a workaholic?
A workaholic?
Yeah.
A workaholic is usually someone who does not know when to have fun. Because it is important to work, to make money, to do things. To make money, but more important to do things. But also it is important to keep a balance in our life.
Yeah.
Okay? First, we must do work that we love to do as much as possible. Not always possible for people, but if we can. And the second thing is to do things to relax us. So that because when we are working, we become very stressed. We are burning lots of energy.
You have pressure.
Pressure, exactly. So we need to relax to build up our energy again.
So what do you do to relax in your spare time?
There are many things that can be done. In my case, it could be as simple as listening to some music or watching a DVD.
Yeah.
These days it is usually watching hockey.
Yeah. What kind of music do you like?
I like all kinds of music.
Pop music?
Pop music, even hard rock music, but there are times when I like. Usually I like soft music.
Soft music, classical music.
Classical, but also some modern soft music. Yeah.
So you are more busy than us, and if you don't mind, I would say you are older than us, but you have more energy and powerful than us. So how do you do that? Do you have any secrets?
How can I say a secret? I have a talent, I guess you could say a talent, of being able to get energy from nature.
Yeah. From nature?
From nature and from people. I'm one of these people who believes that as human beings we have energy around us. Each human being has energy. It is like a shield around us, an egg, if you wish, that protects us. We each have different colors. Through this egg, it is possible for me to give energy to people. As in teaching, you give energy to the students, but it is also possible for me to get energy from the students. So one of the ways I keep my energy level fairly high is that I can get energy from 30-some students, which gives me a lot of energy, and then I can give back to them that energy. So I'm not using my energy.
So nowadays many young people are lack of power, lack of aims. They are lazy and are easily getting upset. So could you give us some opinions or advice?
Okay. First, let me say that all people are lazy. There is good and bad lazy. Bad lazy is when you do not do the work you're supposed to do. Good lazy is when you do the work quicker than others, so that you have more free time for yourself. That's good and bad in there. Now, for students, it is sometimes difficult to have a goal, but you must try to have your own personal goal, not your parents' goal, not society's goals, your goal. So you must try to get to know who you are.
Yeah, where will you go?
And where you want to go. So one way to know this is to try to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. Then once you know these, try to work towards this in your education and your work. Now, that's not always possible because of limitations of the economy, of where we live, or many other things.
Yeah.
Okay? But certainly by studying, we gain more knowledge. And it is a long process. It is not overnight. And there are no shortcuts. If you want to copy homework from someone else, that's okay. But you lose. Because in the end, you have an exam and you must prove that you have this knowledge. If you have copied from others, you don't have the knowledge. Others have it, not you. Okay? Now, if you copy from others for exams, that's worse. Because what will happen is that when you go into the workforce, your employer goes by this certificate that you have this experience and knowledge. But when it comes time for you to do the work, he discovers that you cannot do it. So then he will say, you're fired. And then you lose your job. So loss of face in that sense. So very important to try to get knowledge. Now, what knowledge do you get depends on each person. Some people have a talent towards language. Others have a talent towards mathematics. Others towards other things, sports, whatever. So they must find their strengths, which includes what is their interests in there.
So your interest is working. You have talent of working.
My interest is in teaching others.
Teaching others.
My interest is in learning as much information, knowledge as I can about the world, about human beings. I have come to the conclusion that every one of us can contribute to society. It is just a matter of making a decision to do so.
Yeah.
It could be in a big way, it could be in a small way, but each way is important.
And another question. Nowadays, many students want to pass exams like GRE, and they must grasp some words that are not used regularly. But you know, the essence of a language is communication. Mm-hmm. But this phenomenon is common. How do you think?
There are only so many hours in the day, so the students must decide what is important. Is it their education? Or is it playing mahjong? Well, no, that's older people. Or is it playing basketball? Yeah. Most of the time. Okay. Certainly, many young people, especially young boys, young men, think that to be better at basketball, they could have a chance like Yao Ming. But they forget that Yao Ming practiced 6 hours, and he had a talent for this. So you must know your strength. If you're good at basketball, then yeah, maybe you should concentrate more on that. But if you're not, you must admit to yourself. You must be honest with yourself and say, no, that is not where my strength is. My strength is in drawing, and maybe in writing songs, poems, maybe in painting. So I go into arts. Or my talent is, my interests are in physics and chemistry. So maybe I go into that instead. So it is to concentrate on studying. Now, for English, as you say, to get more words, vocabulary, well, there are many tools. I talk often in my classes about MP3, MP3, I like to say, to use this as a tool to learn to read a short story. Now, this short story can have very new words, strange words, and by reading this story over and over before going to bed, you're programming your mind. Another way is, before that, is that you have a dictionary in front of you. A hard copy, not e-dictionary. And you make a commitment to yourself. You make a decision that every night you will look at one page of words. You will look at these words, see what they mean, and then in your mind try to create sentences of these. A new page every day in that. There are books of English that have, it's written 365 on the cover. One page per day, or one section per day. Yeah. And these kinds of books are very useful to build more vocabulary. But remember that vocabulary is not the only thing that's important. There's also being able to communicate, to do the talking, to dare to talk. So combined with looking up new words, there's also speaking more often. Because many people think that to speak, they should speak perfectly. No one is perfect.
But we want to go abroad, so we must pass exams.
Exactly, there are exams. So the exams have certain criteria.
Yeah.
So one way to reach these criteria is to take as many English classes as you have, which most of the students here do. Okay? The next thing is to build up your vocabulary. But the first thing is to build up your, how can I say, your fluency. The grammar is important, yes, because you must know the rules and things like that. But if you do not practice using those rules, it serves no purpose. How do you practice? You can write, but when we speak with people, we don't do the same grammar as when we write. Writing must be very close to perfect. But in speaking, the natural way of communications is we can make short sentences, no sentences, a word, and it has great meaning. So we don't need to. So the idea, though, is by speaking more often, we build confidence in ourselves that, hey, I can speak. People can understand me. My English level is getting better. We gain confidence. The grammar and the words build up at the same time.
Well, some students, they hold a large vocabulary, but they can't speak English very well.
Exactly. It is very, well, I shouldn't say very easy, but fairly easy to grab a dictionary and just to memorize words so that you know these words. You can write them very easily. But when it comes to pronouncing them, and then the problem also happens is that you can maybe pronounce the word, but when you put it into a sentence, there's the word flow that comes in, and then you may mispronounce the word. Even though the word itself you can pronounce, when it is put into a sentence, you mispronounce it. All of that is because this needs to be practiced.
Yeah.
Okay? The Chinese language is different from French, is different from English, is different from others. So your bones have been used to a certain movements to make sounds. Now you must learn some new movements to speak another language.
So put a word in a sentence, you can remember it.
Exactly.
Easily.
One of the things I tell my students is that when you listen to a movie, when you listen to a teacher, and you hear a new word, you write it down. Then, once you discover the meaning of it, you write a sentence.
Yeah.
I strongly suggest to all my students and to the people listening to this and watching this, get a notebook that the pages can come out easily, but get a notebook, and every day, whenever you hear a new word, you write it down. When you go back to the dormitory, you write a sentence about that word that includes that word in there, that gives the meaning of the word. Okay? You keep this as a reference book for the whole year, maybe even until after you finish your education. You keep it as a reference book. And once a month, or more often, if you're not as advanced as some students, you can do it every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You go through this book, and you see the word and you in your mind, and then you say the sentence. So the more practice.
Yeah. So I would like to finish our interview with the last question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our major is journalism. So if you want to be an overseas reporter, do you have any suggestion?
Overseas reporters. To be overseas reporters, you must have, how can I say, confidence in your skills, number one. 2, you must have good English.
Good English.
Well, let's say very good English. Okay? Very good to excellent English.
Yeah.
Okay? But also you must have some passion for reporting. Okay? It's something you really want to do, not just because your parents are saying do, or because there's good money, or because you can travel abroad. You must, the activity itself must be of interest to you. Great interest. And the last thing is, because you will be dealing with foreigners, you must understand a little bit of their situation. So you must be
and their culture
respectful of them. I see some reporters that are arrogant when they speak to others of other countries, especially if they come from a developed country and they're interviewing someone from a developing country. They will look down at them in their tone. Not good.
Always a developed country reporters look down the developed countries.
Not always, but regrettably too many in there. But that is, so those are the things to make sure that you do something you love. Because if you have passion for something, other people around can sense your energy.
Yeah.
Okay? And it makes them excited and willing to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why my classes are usually very popular.
You have passion.
Because I have passion.
Yeah.
And the students can feel that
Got
on
it.
there.
Yeah.
Okay?
So it's very kind of to talk to you again.
My pleasure.
And hope you live and working here happily. So.
Well, I thank you. We will see how things progress
Okay.
on that. And for the students watching this, practice.
Practice.
There is no quick pill, magic pill. It is practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
And with MP-SAN, you can practice by yourself.
Remember it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good. Okay.
And I will see my dream come alive at last. I will touch the sky, and they're not gonna hold me down no more. No, they're not gonna change my mind, 'cause